Hey everyone, today we are making 3 easy projects that require no tools. It's crazy. It's part of the Kiss Sunday with Melissa Makes It DIY, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So first we're starting off with one of these little terracotta pots from Dollar Tree and some of these little button sticker things. Don't worry, I know the color is a little weird, but we are not leaving them that color. So we're just going to stick them all around the rim of that pot. You can space them out however you want. If you want them a little more spaced, I tried to keep them fairly close as far as spacing goes. There's a little gap in the back, but that's okay. We're just gonna, just put that in the back. So we're gonna go in with Adirondack white and give it a full coat. I think I ended up doing like 2.5 coats. And then we're going to take this Parisian Gray color paint and do a dry brushing. It's probably a little bit more paint on the brush than it should have been, but I'll show you in a minute how to fix that. So I'm really kind of focusing on getting the overall like shape of those buttons so that you can see them. Obviously, if you were to leave it white, it would be very pretty and pristine, but you wouldn't really see those buttons. So I went into it knowing I was going to distress it. I know, big surprise, right? So we're going to just go through and distress the entire thing. I'm kind of focusing again on like the under rim of the pot to give it a little something. I did go in, and do a little bit down in the pot on the white. So I want to do the same with the gray. I just thought I needed to be able to have it down a little bit because I was afraid if I didn't do it, you'd be able to see the terracotta coming through. So I went in just, maybe 1.5 inches or something, if I'm being technical with you. So see, I'm going over on the sides. And again, I think this is a little bit too much. So what I will do is I will go back with my white and just kind of blur it out a little bit, like fade it some, you know what I mean? I recently started doing this after watching Savannah with Savvy Crafts with Savannah, and she does this a lot, and I was like, that's such a good idea. Way to go, Savannah, with your good ideas. So there it is. Here we go. Right here. Here we go. It's all done. Purple flowers for you, Melissa, if you're watching this. So Melissa from Melissa Makes It DIY has this challenge every month, and she does, it's Keep It Simple Sundays. And then she also does all kinds of other videos, as you can see here. She's got just tons of great ideas, thrift flips, and just all kinds of great things. So on our next project, we're going to take this little board. It's part of one of those long boards from Dollar Tree. I've used obviously part of it in the past, and I'm just going to clean up that edge with my little X-Acto knife. I'm not counting that as a tool, Melissa, so if it is, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to go in with a sanding block, which took forever because usually I would use my electric sander. So then I am using just a dry brush, or chip brush at least, with a little bit of paint on it, that same Adirondack white that I used on the first project. And I'm going to give it a decent coverage, but not too much. I want a little bit of that brown coming through. I really wanted to use the front side of that, board because it does have those nice lines in it, but I could not, for the life of me, to get that paper to peel off because, again, no tools. I did not use my heat gun as much as I wanted to, but I just could not get it all to come off, so I used the back. And then we're going to go in with just a little bit of the antique wax, and we're going to just put on like just a smidge. And as you can see, when you're putting it on the paint is still a little bit wet, so it's kind of smudging it. See, it's giving you just a little bit of tone to it, not so much like the antique distressing that you're used to seeing when you use this, or at least when I use it. But I really liked the effect, so I was like, I'm good with it. I'm gonna keep it like this. So we're taking a little round circle and we're just going to cut that out in some paper. Again, I probably would have used a tool. I would have used a Cricut, honestly, to do this, but it was a challenge and I love a good challenge. So I just used that little circle to cut it out, and I am adding my Ivy thing from Dollar Tree. It's a rub-on transfer. If you don't have this, I know it's hard to come by, but there will be a couple of different options here in just a minute. I'll show you. You can also, if you're artsy, you can draw this. You could use a couple of sprigs from Dollar Tree to make one, like ivy looking pick kind of thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but a pick kind of thing. And then I'm going to go around and trim it up a little bit. The circle was just a smidgen too big. And honestly, when you see the result at the end, I thought this particular one was a little too big, but again, I had to work with what I had. So we're just trimming that up. I'm really not sure why I thought you needed to watch all of that, but there you go. And next we're going to make our letters on here. I found this stencil from Dollar Tree. I was thinking about using the poster letters, but they were too small, and if I had it my way, these would have been a little bit bigger as well. So if you come across some that are larger than this, that would be my recommendation. But I'm going to use the stencil, so I'm just going to tape them down, and I'm just going to use some black paint. It is the color ink from Waverly, and a little dabber brush thing, and I'm just going to pull out some paint. This stuff is thick. I need to really water it down. And I'm just going to go over all of those spots on here just to fill in. And you'll see in a minute, I do show you how I clean it up as well, because it definitely needed a little bit of that. I'm not very proficient with using stencils, because to be honest, if I'm going to use a stencil, I'll probably make it on my Cricut, and then it will, I don't have to tape it down. I just, plop it onto whatever I'm stenciling, and away I go. But here it is. It kind of, depending on how you like it, you could do a lot more paint to give it a much thicker, darker effect, if that makes any sense. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same paint, and I'm just going to kind of fill in any spots that seem like they need some, go around the edge, that kind of thing. I got these little dot fasteners. It's just Velcro from Dollar Tree, but it really works well for this particular project. So it has, a front and a back, a teethy side and a fuzzy side. And I'm just going to put it, originally I was like, oh, I'll put it on the back of this. And then I was like, wait, no. This much smarter way of doing this. I'm just going to put it, put the pieces together, stick it down onto my board, and then, peel the pieces back. They're already peeled. Sorry. They're already peeled at this point, and put down whatever I am going to use that I want the Velcro on. If that made any sense. Sorry, that was very convoluted explanation. But I'm going to repeat it a couple of times with some different things. These are all pieces that I have pulled off of various Dollar Tree signs, with the exception of the first one. And then I was like, I got this little garland, this little daisy garland. I was like, that is super cute. Let's use that too. And it's honestly, that one is probably the perfect size for these letters. And see, we're just going to stick it down and peel it off. Here's the finished product with the heart. I figured, hey, it's Valentine's Day. Let me show the heart. So on to our last one. Pretty simple. We're just going to take an 8x10 canvas. It is not the one with the frame. It is a flat one. That is important. And I think I got these from Joann's. They had a pack of 10 for under $10. I was like, hey, that's a better deal than it is at Dollar Tree. So first we're going to do the Parisian Gray, which I've already done here. And now we're going to take this plaster color. Well, you know what it is. It's Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. But that is a lot to say. And I take just one of the stencil brushes or chip brush and just kind of give it some lines. And then I'm going to go in with just the teeniest bit of blue, and I'm going to mix that all in because I just kind of want a very muted tones, and you'll see why in a minute. And in theory, I guess I could have gone a lot darker, but I'm just going for really muted tones, just trying to fade everything out. And I thought it needed just a little bit more dark. So I do grab the Waverly chalk paint in Elephant, and I'm just going to go in just with a tiny little bit. And as I'm looking at it, I was like, oh, I haven't used this in a long time. I had to shake it. Excuse me. So I just put that on there, and you can definitely, this is really up to you how you want to do this. Make it darker, make it lighter, make it colorful. It's however you want to have this little backdrop. And then I was like, okay, the white is a little too stark, so I'm just going to go back with that same gray color from the beginning, Parisian Gray from Folk Art, and kind of fade everything out a little bit. And then I'm going to take one of these wall art pieces. You know I love them if you've watched a few of my videos before. This one was really cute. It was like little dandelions. I was like, aw, it's so precious. So I just unstick it, and I'm just going to stick it onto the board and try not to stick it to itself. Luckily enough, it came off really easy. Now with these, one thing to keep in mind, it's got these little pieces that are white, and I just need to pull that out. Don't tell anybody, Melissa, don't tell Melissa. I used a tool for just a second. As soon as I grabbed it and used it, I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. That's a special tool. People don't have that, you know, most of the time. So pretend you didn't see that, because that's my secret. I used it, but I could have used something else. That's just what I had handy. Or you can peel it up, you know, beforehand. So I've just got to fold everything down underneath the canvas if anything's hanging off. I added just the little, little pieces, and I'm going to do a coat of Mod Podge on that. And here's the frame we're using. It's just off of a Dollar Tree frame. And it's funny, the first one I grabbed that I was going to use was a little different than this, and I opened it up, went to take out the backing, and it fell apart. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to use that one. I'll save it and use it on something. I'm not really sure. So just going over it a little bit more with the black. I felt like it didn't have enough black. It had a little too much gold. So we're just going to do a quick little dry brushing with some of that black paint, just to, darken it up a little bit, make it look a little less gold. I mean, gold's pretty too. I could have really just painted the whole thing black. Now that I think about it, that would have stood out even more, but that's all right. It's up to you. It's your palette. Your color choices are, whatever you want to do. So after that, what we'll do is we'll just put the 8x10 in there, fold everything over, and away you go. It's all done. It's kind of cute, right? It's cute. It's pretty. It depends on what you want to put in there. Here's all of our projects from today. And Melissa, of course, wonderful person. Go check her out. You're going to love her. And don't forget to check out the playlist as well, of course. It'll be linked for you below. And I will see you next time.